Welcome to Born on the Bayou Sports, a Houston sports show made for Houstonians by Houstonians. Join Tim Costello and Scott Barzilla every week as they break down the latest in Houston Astros, Rockets, and Texans news. Tim's a former minor league broadcaster, and Scott has written 2 books on the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, if Javier could get it figured out, it would make things a lot easier because he was that guy everybody was counting on this year to be a Cy Young candidate, take that big step forward and help anchor this rotation with Fromber.
Since he's come to Houston, you can look at the development of guys like Carlos Correa defensively, Jeremy Pena defensively. I mean, you can know Alex Bregman's, certainly I think a better than average third baseman.
And now you're putting teams in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. Now here comes Will Anderson. Pin back your ears, let's go. So if you're Bayou born and bred, or just like spending time in the H, sit down, relax, and stay Houston strong. Welcome, all my friends, back to the podcast that took a short little break last week, and there's a reason Scott's looking so tan this week. Scott, how we doing?
Doing all right. I guess I came back with a little touch of something off the cruise. So I've been kind of.
I'm hearing that.
Kind of laying low.
Record an R&B album or a blues album or something right now where you got to work. Well, you got the Amy Winehouse working for you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I did go on a cruise for a week. And I'm going to keep the question of the day non-sports related. So, if the stormtroopers come for us, Tim, what country is on the top of your list to relocate to?
Ireland, maybe Italy. But, I mean, if you sent me back to Ireland, you'd be sending me. This is my home, which is crazy that we have to have this conversation. But my home is Ireland. It's America, but I have Irish heritage, so I guess send me there. Play a shit ton of golf. I think I respect the IRA. I don't want to join, but I respect what they're doing. And all for it.
I liked Ireland, but I tell you what, after our week, Honduras is very underrated. So we were in Roatan, which is one of the islands of Honduras, and actually their home prices. I mean, Michael Douglas apparently lives there, has a house there. And the home prices are pretty much on par with what we pay here. Now, obviously, we'd have to have a source of income, but, just to get, your foot in the door seemed pretty reasonable.
Hey, to each their own. I'm thinking about golf as my way to go. But yeah, I think Honduras would be fun. Anywhere with a beach is always going to be a good option. I'd love to say Mexico, but I've never been anywhere except for a resort in Mexico. I had a great time at the resort, but I don't think I'm going to be living the resort life if I'm looking for a new home.
Well, so I got a trivia question for you. So as you know, I'm sure you know, Mauricio Dubon is from Honduras. It is one of 2 players who was born in Honduras to play in the major leagues. Do you know the other one? I'll give you a clue. Former Astro.
Former Astro played from Honduras. Can you give me a time period that this person was an Astro?
He came up in the 80s and lasted through the early 90s.
Oh, jeez. I got nothing for you.
I'll give you a big hint. He has the franchise record for stolen bases in a season.
Cesar Cedeno?
Good guess, but no. It is Gerald Young.
Yeah, never would have got you there, guys.
I wouldn't have either because Gerald Young is an English-sounding name.
Very much so, yeah.
But they are pretty big Astros fans down there in Honduras, I'll tell you that.
Hey, if we've had both of their career Honduran players, I can see why. But speaking of Astros, there's got to be some magic in them unis right now, Scott, because if I would have told you that Trammell, Zach Short, Cooper Hummel, Shea Whitcomb, Bryce Matthews, and Victor Caratini starting at first base today, and I would tell you we're going to win that ball game. Would you believe me?
No,
I mean, I texted you when the lineup came out because I was shocked we were putting such little effort into it today.
Yeah, I was like, here's the Sugarland Space Cowboys, the Bees, taking on the Twins. So here's my question for you. Obviously, what Matthews has done over the last series has been huge. Is there any player out there that you would listen to if they wanted Bryce Matthews?
I mean, I'm sure there are, but they'd have to be a guy who's got some years of control left, right? Like I got to be getting a top line pitcher who's under control for like 2 more years after this year.
Yeah, so
basically Farmers replace him.
8 RBIs in 3 days. So I'm going to take him out because he's kind of an obvious choice. If you were to go with guys who did not start the season on the 26-man roster, who is your Schlitz Light newcomer of the year? So Cam Smith.
I think it's Trammell.
Cam Smith, yeah, taking Cam Smith out of it, obviously.
I think it's Trammell. I think, he's had some big hits for this ball club. Right now he's having to play center field and hit leadoff, which he did today. He found his way on base 3 times, I believe. He had a knock and 2 walks. OPS is above 750. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy's a replacement level player. Like, he was not expected to be called upon at this level, but he's played a serviceable center field out there, and his bat has been good enough. His plate discipline has been good enough that the world hasn't come crashing down. I don't think there's many organizations where you could lose, one of the best DHs in the league, the center fielder who might be playing the best of any center fielder in baseball at this point, at least offensively, an all-star level third baseman,
all-star level shortstop,
all-star at least level pitcher, all-star level shortstop. I mean, on top of all the other guys, right? Like, it's not just the all-stars. Like, you've lost so much depth to where Bryce Matthews, who was drafted last year, is getting the call.
Maybe 2 years ago. It's funny you were mentioning Trammell. Before the whole Altuve to left thing, you've heard of rosterresource.com, right?
I have.
They listed him as the starting left fielder in January, and he got hurt in camp, and so he got delayed. My choice would be Brandon Walter, because I don't see any way. Like, when he came up, I was like, I feel like Mitchell Friedman. The fuck are these guys? and all he did today was go 7 innings, give up 1 run, which was the first. Wasn't the first pitch of the game?
It was.
So perfect, pretty much perfect after the first pitch, and he could have gone in the 8th inning. I think he easily could have gone in the 8th inning, but they decided to pull him, put in Sousa, who made the game more interesting. But gosh, I mean, I don't know what you makes you long for the days of Wesniewski. I mean, as bad as this rotation has been beat up.
Yeah, I saw a great stat on Walter today, though, when I was watching the game. His OPS against his 3rd time through the order is lower than his 1st time through. This is a guy who really pays attention to the way that you react to certain pitches, right? Like, if you get a knock off him because you were cheating on his fastball, hey, he may start you off with a steady diet of breaking balls the next way through, or vice versa. You were cheating, waiting on the breaking ball. Okay, here comes the fastball. He is a very cerebral guy. He takes notice of everything, and he gives you a competitive start, right? Like, he may not always have elite stuff, but I feel like Walter has given the Astros chances to win a lot of the games that he's pitched. He's had a bad start or two, and hey, that happens. You weren't on the plan to be eating major league innings at the level that he's eating, but for the most part, this guy's given the Astros a chance to win baseball games. He's a competitor when he's out there. He went deep into the game today, which was huge after Hunter Brown didn't, get much length out of his start. You got a deep start from Fromber. You got a deep start from Walter. So, yeah, I'm with you, Scott. Crack open a cold one for him.
Yeah, so looking at his numbers, so he's got a 3.35 ERA, does not get the win because of Sousa, who has a 2.59 ERA. And I don't, who in the hell is that guy, right? Hader's ERA obviously cropped up after he was leaking some oil there for a bit, but he gets the save, so he's 27 for 28 in save opportunities. So I'm going to give you mentioned something off air. So I'm going to give you 3 choices. I think we're out of the starting pitching market. You think you would agree?
That we're out of the market for starting pitching?
Or maybe that's the third priority?
I would agree. It's not something they're going to throw all their chips in, but I wouldn't say we're out of the market just because if you're thinking ahead to October, then, an elite third starter would be a good add.
So I'm going to give you in no particular order a replacement third baseman because it looks like Isaac Paredes will be out for most of the rest of the season. A left fielder DH type or a 7th inning reliever. Like, what are you ranking those in order?
I think I'll go 7th inning reliever 1, left field DH 2, third base replacement 3.
Because what's interesting is I came upon a guy that neither of us love, but he's IKF, Isaiah Kiner-Fila. Plays for the Pirates this year. Has played for probably about 10 teams over the course of his career. And he's like a less powerful Mauricio Dubon. Doesn't draw a lot of walks, but hits for a fairly healthy average in modern baseball terms. And is a plus defender at every position he's ever played except for catcher, which he's played catcher. So what do you think of that one?
I don't mind it. I think he could be gotten cheap. It's not a bad insurance policy. But at the end of the day, I think right now you've got plenty of insurance. Like if I've already got Mauricio Dubon, who's going to play, let's just go ahead and pencil Dubon as our everyday third baseman for the foreseeable future, right? Like kind of the situation that we've been put in with Paredes' injury, in my opinion. At that point, either Bryce Matthews or Altuve is playing second base every day. And if Altuve's back at second base, that means left field is open. Or if you want Bryce Matthews playing second base every day, now I need Altuve in left field so that way I can keep Victor Caratini's bat in the lineup as a DH. So it's kind of like we're running out of places to put that left-handed bat, even if you go get it, right? Like, because I threw the name at you was Josh Naylor. Guy's hitting 292. He's got an 807 OPS. He can play left field. He can play right field. He can play first base. He can DH. I'd love to go get a guy like that. But do you DH him over Victor Caratini? Because I want Victor's bat in the lineup right now.
Well, they did send down Cesar Salazar, so you're back down to 2 catchers. So let's think of it. Let me just ask a couple of questions. How long do you think Taylor Trammell can keep this up?
I think he could at least be what Hayward was for this team last year.
So,
when you say keep it up, what do you mean by keep it up? Hit 220?
Okay, so if I gave you a choice just flat out between him and Dubon in center field, who would you want every day?
Probably Trammell. I think he's played a better center field than Dubon.
Okay, so that answers one question. Because the other question is with IKF is, do you think IKF is better than Zach Short?
Probably offensively, but Zach Short's actually been pretty good defensively.
Yeah, numbers. He's been a plus defender, not outrageously so, because he's only got like a little over 500, career plate appearances. So, offensively, he has been. I think he's like a 59 WRC plus, which is just astronomically low.
Not good.
So the question is, if you go out and we're going to assume Jeremy Payne is going to come back because does it take 3 months for a broken rib to heal?
We'll fucking find out.
Okay, so let's assume Pena's back, right? Pena's your shortstop. Would you rather have Dubon at third and Trammell in center? Or would you rather have IKF at third and Dubon in center?
For defensive purposes, I'd rather have Trammell in center. For offensive purposes, I will say that, but when you look at OPS, they're not that different of players. Trammell's OPS is plus 750 this season.
So,
right? So,
or does it
because
matter
he walks?
Or does it matter whether it's a ground ball versus a fly ball pitcher?
If it's a ground ball pitcher, I'm fine with Doobie playing center all day.
Because but
then I like Doobie at third because he's probably a better third baseman than IKF.
No, because he's played very little third base. He's probably a better second baseman, but then again, you already got your second baseman. So these are kind of problems that you have. So obviously, if you were to get Naylor is. Are you going to assume? Would you rather have him in left or Altuve in left?
They're probably both about the same defensive players.
I'm assuming they're just going to toggle left field and DH.
It's that, or maybe righty lefties. I don't know. If it's a ground ball pitcher, Altuve's in left, fly ball pitcher. I don't know. That's why it's curious to me just to bring up or to go after a left-handed bat in the outfield, because as long as Bryce Matthews is up, he's got to be playing second best every day, right? Like, you didn't bring this guy up to ride pine or be a backup. So if he's here, he's their starting second baseman. If you go trade for a starting everyday left fielder, to me, the corresponding move has to be Bryce Matthews is going back down and Altuve's moving back to second base, right? That's the only way. So you now have to say, is the left fielder I'm bringing in potentially going to be better than the bat of Bryce Matthews? It's still pretty early to tell on Bryce. He's had a great series in Arizona, but it's 3 games, right? Like, he was hitting below 100 before these 3 games. So I'm not ready to crown him yet, but at the same time, I'm saying as long as he's up, he's your starting second baseman. So that means that Altuve is either DHing or playing left field. So whoever we bring in needs to be more exciting to you in the lineup than Bryce Matthews.
Or, well, if you're assuming a world of Jordan's back, I'm not even assuming a world of Jordan's back.
Well, I'm assuming you want Caratini's bat in the lineup every day.
Well, that was the point I was going to make. Is Matthews better than Caratini?
No, we don't know because we honestly do not know about Bryce Matthews yet. He had a phenomenal series. But again, like, J.R. Tolles had a great series to start his career too, and how the fuck is he doing right now?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to crown the guy yet. I am just saying, do you want Caratini to then become that late inning bat off the bench as a pinch hitter?
Well, okay. What we also don't know, he and Diaz could split time more than what they are. What we also don't know, we saw Matthews make a great pick to start that double play. But
he's made about 4 really good defensive plays in that series.
But a part of what you're doing there is, if you're going to say, okay, you're going to put Altuve at second if you send Matthews down, right? You have to figure in those fielding runs. The difference between Matthews and Altuve. That has to factor in.
I mean, and here's also an off-the-wall opportunity. Matthews was drafted as a shortstop. Instead of Zach Short, Bryce Matthews could play shortstop, and Altuve could play second base, and then you can get a left field, right? Like, that's also an option.
Yeah, as long as Pena's out. But again, I'm assuming Pena's going to be back toward
Matthews play third. If you can play short, you can play third.
The other part of it, too, is that we're assuming how long is Jake Myers going to be out?
I assume he's out for the year. The way that he had to be helped off the field, I haven't heard anything about his injury that makes me feel it's not an Achilles. I haven't heard. Have you heard anything?
They haven't said anything. So,
which doesn't mean anything except bad news with the Astros.
And then the other question is, does Melton do anything for you?
No.
So,
does he do anything for you?
I mean, I don't know if you think he's better than Trammell or Hummel.
Hummel, yes. Yes.
So would you keep him around just as a secondary outfielder? Because the other part of it too is, what do you do with Chas McCormick?
He hit the ball hard a few times. He's had some nice at bats, worked a nice walk.
I feel like he sounded like the guy. Remember the guy from Bull Durham?
Yeah,
he got cut early in the year, but I hit the ball hard this week. A couple of things fall in there. I'm right back in the groove.
I mean, it was literally straight out of like Major League 3 back to our little big league, right? Where he has to cut the guy who he's like obsessed with since he's been a little kid. And he's like, "Come on, man! I'm not playing every day. Give me a couple good knocks. I'm hitting the ball hard." But I mean, at the end of the day, like, what more can you say for Chas, right? Like, he has hit the ball hard. He smoked one right at the shortstop today. He worked a nice walk. I mean, I probably think you got to ride out this year with Chas just because of the injuries that you have. Do you really have – can you sit here and tell me that Hummel is better than Chas McCormick? Because I'd laugh at you.
No. I will say that Hummel has made a couple of good defensive plays that have kind of, flown under the radar. So he's at least out there. He's efforting.
Right, but if you have to – if we're getting guys back and you're choosing roster spots.
Yeah.
I've seen the defense that Chas can play. Chas can fucking go pick – Chas can field the ball in the outfield. Okay, I'm not worried about that. His defense is just as good, if not better, than Hummel. And he's at least an established Major League Baseball player. He's not all-star level anymore. But, like, Chas – like, I was texting you today during the game, like, they brought in a reliever to turn Hummel around to the other side of the plate. And I was like – What the fuck? Like, you really need to worry about this guy hitting left-handed or right-handed? He sucks from both sides of the fucking plate. And then, what do you know? We're at third, less than 2 outs. What does Hummel do? He strikes the fuck out.
Yeah. The good news about both of those players we mentioned is that they are free agents after the season. And so, if you're worried about, what's going to happen with Yordan in left or what's going to happen with Paredes at third, after the season, those guys are gone.
I mean, we've DFA'd Hummel 3 times. I mean,
I'm talking about Naylor and IKF.
Yeah, I mean, if you go get a guy like Naylor, that's a Band-Aid. I don't think it would cost you a ton. You could probably get him for Colton Gordon, realistically, right? Like, I feel like him or Walter probably gets the job done. I just don't want to give up Walter.
To give up those guys, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, once Javier hopefully comes back, who's on a rehab assignment right now. Aaron Getty's on a rehab assignment. Like, help us all the way pitching wise.
Can you imagine Dana Brown trying to say with a straight face, "Dude, Colton Gordon's untouchable"?
If you can give me 6 innings right now, you're untouchable. But I mean, there's got to be a team like the Pirates, right? Like, a guy like
IKF is not going to cost you anything. They're just trying to cut salary at this point.
Per usual.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I would say theirs is a bad situation, but to me, is there anybody from Oakland? Homeless team that you would like to fleece?
I don't know. I mean, that's. I'd take the guy Rooker. I'd take Rooker.
Mason Miller, although
cost you?
Mason Miller is going to be prohibitively expensive, but
Yeah, he throws gas.
But that's a team. I don't know if you've read up on them, but basically Las Vegas is starting to balk at claiming them.
Yeah.
So they're homeless. They're
They had their groundbreaking in like a fucking sandbox on the inside where they're like dug like it's like a Zen garden groundbreaking is basically what it turned into.
Yeah, it's rough for them. So and I've heard that some teams are sniffing around the Rockies. So who knows if there's anybody there, but yeah, I think out of all the guys you mentioned, to me, obviously Matthews is the only guy with a long-term future on this team. I don't think Taylor Trammell is maybe he's a fourth or fifth outfielder, maybe. But it kind of makes you wonder. I mean, obviously you're probably you're assuming they're going to non-tender Chaz.
I would like. Why would after the season, Scott? Would you want to? You got 26 roster spots. He's not in your organization right now. He is not one of your top 26 baseball players when everybody's healthy.
Well, plus that you're talking about maybe what $5-6 million in salary because I mean he's going to be nobody gets pay cut in Major League Baseball under an arbitration. So, I mean, he might even get more money than what he's getting right now.
There's no way. Like, he'll get the same. He will get the same, but there's no way his team would even argue for that. Like, whatever they say, he should go, thank you. There's absolutely no world where he goes, we'll go to arbitration.
I'm going to argue. Look at these numbers for 2023. That was awesome.
Yeah, I got a real strong shot. Like, if there's a guy who doesn't need to hear an arbitration case against himself, it's Chaz McCormick because he basically got the real life version of that from Dusty Baker every single day. His whole life was fucking arbitration. Or maybe he does need to hear it. He needs to have someone tell him he sucks every single day like Dusty did, and that was motivating him. Like, Dusty should write a book on motivation and be like, they'll thank me one day for what I did for you. It's going to be the title of this book. It's going to be called The Chaz McCormick and Yainer Diaz Story. Okay, because we're going to thank Dusty for how he handled these guys.
Well, not only, but maybe it was the banana pudding.
Maybe.
It could be. So I definitely think, though, the last 2 days have cemented for me that you need another arm in this bullpen. So last night you're throwing out Brian King with a 2-run lead who proceeds to load the bases with no outs. Houdini's has fucked the way out of that one.
That was insane.
Which I love that. You actually know there is a stat called Houdini?
I did not.
So it is whenever you are in the game with the bases loaded and nobody out and you get out of the inning without surrendering any runs. So he Houdini'd himself.
I mean, it was insane.
Thank you, Bryce Matthews, for that pick. That
would have been a game-tying base hit if he doesn't get over there.
So, and then today, because you couldn't pitch Abreu after pitching a couple of days in a row, you go throw out Sousa in the 8th inning. He wasn't up for the task, and luckily Christian Walker comes through in the 9th when he could not come through earlier in the game with runner on 3rd and 1 out. I don't know if you noticed, 2 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. That's not great, but I'll take 2 for 5.
Not terrible.
I'll take 2 for 5.
Yeah, double.
But the 3 strikeouts is kind of troublesome, particularly with runners on 3rd and 1 out.
To me, an out's an out.
Yeah, but when you have a guy
in that scenario, but for the most part, an out's an out, and he had 2 hits, right? Like we've got to take the good with the bad with Christian Walker. Like, he is swinging the bat better.
If he can just go on a continual loop of playing in Arizona and Dodger Stadium, I think he could be like an MVP candidate.
No, you're not wrong. He's definitely swung the bat well in those 2 locations. But no, I agree with you on the pen stuff, right? Like, I understand going with Abreu in the 8th last night. The part of the lineup demanded it. So it's not like you could have held Abreu over for the 9th and used somebody else in the 8th. Like, the meat of the Diamondbacks order was coming up, and you threw your best reliever available at the best hitters that they had available late in the game. That makes sense. So then you go to Brian King, some soft contact, a walk, a good hit. Next thing you know, his bases loaded. The strikeout was huge. The double play was huge. Souza today, he's been surprisingly good this season, but not the guy I'd go to in the 8th inning. But again, like Espada's choices are so limited. You got Caleb Ort, who hasn't been as good as he was last year. Like, where are you going to go? Like, every guy who came out of nowhere last year who was great hasn't been the same this year, and you just don't have the same choices anymore.
You got like Hector Neris in the back of the classroom. Royer's raising up his hand like he's Arnold Horshack. Mr. Goddamn, Mr. Espada, pick me. That's not happening. But what I was going to say, though, and I don't know if you caught this in the broadcast last night, and I'm going to butcher his name, but I don't care. I'm Texan. Eugenio Suarez had hit the Diamondbacks the last 7 home runs before Marte went deep today. And that is only the 3rd time it has happened in modern baseball history that one player has hit 7 consecutive home runs for his team. And we pretty much
need to be 2 things, right? This guy's on an absolute fucking heater right now.
Which he was. But
also the rest of your team is really not doing it if one guy's hit your last 7 homers as a team consecutively.
Yeah, both of those are true. But we pretty much shut his ass down, which, I think, is a testament to, we've had this debate on the message board at Crawfish Boxes for those of us who are the writers. Who do you give most of the credit to this year for this team's performance? Do you think, is this a deal where the front office and the scouts really picked the right guys, or do you think this is a coaching staff taking some chicken shit and turning it into chicken salad?
I'm going to take a chicken shit answer. I'm going to say it's 50-50, okay? I think Dana Brown has found some hidden gems, right? Like guys that were not super expensive who are able to come in and help the ball club, a Zach Short, a Trammell, Gordon, another one who has been all over the place. He's had major league starts before. Get him in your system. We hired Dana Brown because we knew he was a minor league guy, right? We knew he could build a minor league system. The Astros minor league system at the time is pretty depleted. So this was a guy who understood the types of players that he would need throughout the season who could come up and affect the ball club, right? Like if you're signing a guy to a minor league contract in May, you're not getting a superstar. You're getting a guy who, just in case something happens, this guy can come up for 15, 20, 25 games, and he can play the position effectively. So I'll give Dana Brown the credit for finding those guys, but I'm going to have to turn my head to Joe Espada and say, wow, right? Like just wow. Because I think on their face, a lot of these injuries alone could have sucked the life out of a room, could have sucked the energy out of a locker. You lose Yordan Alvarez, the way the Astros have lost him for this season, could suck the life out of a lot of locker rooms. You have a guy like Isaac Paredes having the year that he's having, gets his 2nd serious leg injury running down to first base. That sucks the life out of you have Jake Myers having the year that he's having, trying to fight back into the lineup, can't even make it through warmups. That could suck the life out of a locker room. But Espada's really done a nice job of not only keeping the vibe the way that it is, but getting these young guys ingrained and ingratiated into the Astros system, saying, here's how we do things at this level. Raise your game to meet what we do here. And they have. So to me, I think you can't really single one out over the other. I think they really do. I think Dana Brown and Joe Espada really have done a nice job hand in hand together of, piecing a somewhat of an answer together for all the injuries they've had. You're not going to get all-stars to replace the all-stars you lost, but hey, they knew that these were players who could come up and give you 25 games of replacement level value.
And I think to echo what you're saying before we transfer, I will point out that the Astros are currently tied with the Blue Jays for the best record in the American League. This is not. They
got a half game up, actually.
They won today. They beat the Yankees.
So it went back.
Yeah, so 60 and 42 identical records. Unbelievable. I mean, they've had some injuries, like they lost Anthony Santander, but based on the way he was playing, and I don't know if that was much of a loss for them. And remember when we were on the tail of Anthony Santander in the offseason, dodged the bullet on that one. Thank you, Dana Brown. One thing I will say this highlights, and I think this is kind of similar to the relationship that Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans have, is that I feel like there's more coordination between Dana Brown and Joe Espada than certainly there was between Dana Brown and Dusty Baker or James Click and Dusty Baker, certainly. I feel like this kind of goes back to, A.J. Hinch and Jeff Lunau kind of putting their heads together and going like, because, I mean, you got to do that with scouts. You kind of, you go, hey, we got this guy. What do you think? Do you think you could do something with him? And the pitching coaches go, yeah, we can work with that. We could get, you have to have that back and forth. So,
like with Lunau, there was a philosophy, right? Like the philosophy was, especially with look for pitchers with high spin rates who just had been struggling, right? Like we had a certain equation of if your spin rate was above this and you had, a 95 mile an hour fastball, we just seemed to know how to do that in the Lunau era, right? Like there was, as you said, the coach, the pitching staff just said, hey, we have the formula, get them down here, we'll put them into the system, and it'll work out. I think now it's, when Espada was hired while we were doing this podcast, we asked, is this Dana Brown's choice, right? Or was this Jim Crane coming in and saying, no, this is the guy? I think the way that these two have worked together this season especially shows us this was Dana Brown's choice, right? Like when you're signing the kind of guys you're signing to minor league free agency deals, and then they're coming up and having positive effect on the team, to me, that's Espada saying, these are the kind of guys we need to fill into our minor league roster. These are the kind of guys we need waiting just in case Dana Brown goes out and finds those type of guys. And hey, he's been able to get just enough out of them to squeak some wins out. It doesn't matter if you win 10-0 or 1-0. It's still a win.
Yeah, and one of the things that Lunau did, and I think that is kind of continued on, I don't know if Dana Brown does this, but he said that he let his scouts basically put a star by one guy who he said, this is my kind of guy, and it's just a guy that they couldn't, the scout couldn't explain why he liked him. He just liked him. And they made it a priority to draft those guys, whether it was like 35th round, 57th round, whatever. And I feel like that's the kind of interplay between, general manager and scouts that you need. And you have that interplay now between coaches, like basically, hey, what do you think of this guy? Who knows who they pitched to him, but, maybe they pitched like, here's a Jamie Moyer type. And like, no, don't want that guy.
But to me, right, like a Trammell, to me, that seems like a Joe Espada guy, right? Like he can play multiple outfield positions. He's got some pop. He can field it pretty darn well. He can handle the bat well. He can lay down a bat, lay down a bunt. Like to me, that's a Joe Espada guy. He likes versatility. He likes guys he can move throughout the lineup. You can play multiple different positions. Those are the kind of guys, at least from what I've seen, Scott, that's a Joe Espada guy. Like he can get into the system that Joe Espada's created and have a positive effect. I like what he's brought to the team.
Yeah, and just to tie a bow on it, one of the things I've noticed about when you have Bryce Matthews, Cam Smith, and Taylor Trammell in the lineup at the same time, those are just superior athletes. I mean, they are just, beyond their baseball skills. I mean, we're talking, ability to run, ability to jump, and we've seen all of those parlay that into, some plays that most guys just wouldn't make.
Yeah, Trammell plays a pretty smooth center, quite frankly. There was a sinking line drive today that off the bat looked like a hit, and Trammell, on a jog, waist high, got it was no issue. They brought Cam Smith in late to play defense. There was a ball that nearly got out. And, Cam Smith just right there, reach up, grab it, no big deal. Athleticism makes a difference in this game. You forget about it. But having good base runners, guys who can go first to third on a base hit, those are game-changing plays. And if you've got an extra couple guys in the lineup who are willing to make those plays, do those little things because they're fighting for playing time, those are the things that are winning us baseball games right now. And to me, that's the Joe Espada system, right? Do the little things, control the things that you can control, and let the game come to you. And to me, that's what the young guns, as we'll call them, have been able to do.
All right, Tim, I know we're getting close to that time of the show, but I wanted to give a few minutes to your Houston Texans who opened up training camp today. So, I don't know if you paid any attention to training camp today.
I saw some results of these 7-on-7s. Davis Mills was 3 for 3. Stroud was 3 for 3. It was just like, come on, guys.
I saw, Cody Stutes write-up, who we've had on the show. Read his write-up on Substack. One of the things I did find interesting, who your starting right tackle was out of the gate.
Who was that?
Ursery.
Okay.
So they have right now
moving in.
Yeah, Howard's moving in, but Blake Fisher is starting number 3 on the tackle depth chart, which I found kind of interesting. So what is outside of the offensive line, because that's just way too obvious. What's your number one question that you want to see answered in camp?
I just want to see how we're going to use weapons this year, right? Like receivers, you've got quite a few guys that you can use in different ways. Christian Kirk was a really interesting pickup, and then you go draft another really good number 2, a really good receiver in the second round to be your number 2 on the outside. You've got a couple good tight ends. You've got 2 running backs. I'm just intrigued to see what formations are we using? Because if you look at the Rams, they use a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. They bring a lot of guys in motion across the formation. I'm just intrigued, how are we going to use these weapons? How are we going to line these guys up? What's the attack plan going to look like? To me, it's all skill players right now because there was such bad use of our skill players in the last 2 years, especially. Really got a bright light shown on it last year. I want to see what we can do. What can these guys do in space with the ball in their hands?
Speaking of skill position players, I think what's going to be interesting is there's going to be some prominent guys who are fighting for roster spots. I don't think you can keep both John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson. I think one of those guys is going to go. John Mechie is a second-round pick. Yeah. I am never going to root against a cancer survivor.
Yeah, I'm over Hutchinson. I really am over him.
But, I'm not rooting against him. But the other one is Dameon Pierce started on the physically unable to perform list. That's not a good look for a guy who's fighting for a roster spot. And Joe Mixon also happens to be out. So it's you're dude.
Here's your reps, right? I'm trying to hand you reps.
And then, of course, my other one, and I don't know if he's a roster crunch guy, but what in the fuck is going on with Christian Harris?
They said he's almost back to health.
But he wasn't on the list, but he wasn't out there either.
Yeah, they said he's almost back. I thought he'd get back. What are you talking about?
Did they do the signal, hey, Astros training staff, we got a guy. Can you come over here?
They're like, hey, we need you to go get a second opinion. No, not a good doctor. The Astros training staff is waiting on you. Go ahead and cruise on down. We're going to take this, what should be a 2-month injury. It's going to become a 2.5-year recovery.
Yeah,
you'll never be the same player again.
You mentioned in text, bringing back Dr. Red Duke, which unfortunately would require a seance.
And he's also a cancer doctor, not even. He's just the most famous doctor I could think of from Houston.
You want to bring out a Ouija board and see if, maybe Dr. DeBakey, can bring him back to life too. Heart surgeon, because
you just find a way to get possessed by the Duke. And you're just feeling Jordan's hand, and he's just left. That's the bone that's broken right there.
How about Dr. First, who I think also is unfortunately no longer with us, because he was he was my dad's doctor for a bit, for his knee. He had a knee replacement, but maybe that's closer. Maybe do a seance for Dr. Brown for Jordan's hand. Just don't have any humanitarian awards close by, because that might end up getting hurled across the room.
Yeah, don't let Jeff Bagwell come by.
Yeah. Jeff Bagwell's hand is broken again. What happened?
Is that why he kept breaking his hands? You can go see the guy's wife all the time? Oh my God. But yeah, no, I'm excited about that. One thing I've found interesting, Scott, with the Texans, did they set, I don't want to say negative precedent, but did they set a game-changing precedent by offering a fully guaranteed 4-year deal to a second-round pick? Because now a lot of second-rounders are refusing to sign unless they have that fully guaranteed money the way the Texans offered. Well,
did Urseries get fully guaranteed? I know he signed recently.
No.
So I think it just depends. I mean, I think it's a negotiating ploy. But when you look at the total value of the contract, who gives a shit? It's kind of like we talked about, and we didn't bring this up because I don't think it made it happened at a weird time. But you heard about the bonus that the Phillies gave to that pitcher for the All-Star. It's little things like that. It was a $50,000 bonus, which for that kid, if he's making major league minimum, is a pretty hefty check. I mean, for a guy like an A-Rod, $50,000, he shits that in his sleep, right? But and so for those young guys to sit there and say, well, I could have gotten $10 million guaranteed, but now you've guaranteed me up to $13 million or $14 million. What's $3 or $4 million to the organization? But to that kid, it's a huge deal. And when it comes time to to get a second contract, you're ahead of the game.
No, it's essentially what the Rockets do, right? When they trade you away and get you to your preferred destination, eventually you've got the young hot coach that everybody wants to play for. You've got a GM who's willing to work with you. It makes them an attractive destination. Absolutely. I'm curious, number one, why other teams have not acquiesced a little faster to do that. If you like a guy enough to draft him in the second round, surely you think he's going to be around for 4 years. Otherwise, you wouldn't have drafted him. So it's just interesting to me that other teams have been so hesitant to offer that. For the Texans, it made sense, right? Like, this is a guy you felt like you could have gotten in the first round. He maybe was a little pissed he didn't go in the first round. Let's just meet in the middle. We're going to fully guarantee this contract. You're coming to town happy. We feel like we got a guy locked up. We don't have to worry about him being pissed off, thinking he deserves more money and the other stuff that goes with it. And it's a win-win for everybody. To me, it would make more sense for other teams to follow suit instead of creating all these holdouts.
Let's look at which teams are doing it, though. It's the Bengals.
There was a good chunk that had not signed their second rounders, but the Bengals are a problem.
I don't even think they signed their first rounder yet.
No.
I mean, they're cheap as shit. And of course, their best defender and maybe, the best pass rusher in the NFL, according to stats, is holding out. So, I mean, take Hendrickson off that defense, and
which was already historically bad, by the way. It was already a historically bad defense.
Let's put the over-under at 40 points a game. Are you taking the over or the under?
Probably the over.
Yeah. So you go to Joe Burrow. Okay.
I mean, they were giving up like 35 a game with a guy who leads the league in sacks. Now you take that out. You've got all day, and you have to throw because Joe Burrow's on the other side of the field.
Joe, we need 50 from you today. And in fact, we need 50 from you every day. Just go out there and do it.
I mean, if you're Joe Burrow, like, obviously you're happy they signed my weapons. But like, hey, go pay these fucking people, please. Like, please. I'd like to not have to drop a 50 burger every time I go out there to win a football game.
All right, Tim. I know I
bet you he'd like to punch some people right in the face.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have a update in our ending segment that we need to tell people about. So we need to move this ship along here.
Joe Burrow probably wants to pow his front office right in the kisser. Scott, who do you want to pow?
Well, speaking of ships, Tim, so here's what happened to me on the ship, right? So part of this is my mistake, but how many times have you left for vacation and forgot one item that you wanted to bring?
All the time.
Exactly, right? My sister forgot a brush. I forgot Imodium AD. So, about day one, I started having a bout with it. So I go down to, the store where they sell all the stuff. There's no Imodium AD. They've got a laxative. So maybe I could just lean into it and get everything out of my system, I guess. But so I call up information. They send me down to the infirmary. And when I go down to the infirmary, they give me Imodium. No money, Tim. They give me Imodium, but they put me in isolation for 24 hours. So I'm fucking getting hospital dinner. My family is up in the dining room eating like 4-star French cuisine. I'm getting an unseasoned chicken breast, unseasoned rice, and unseasoned broccoli, and a little cup of Jell-O. And then for breakfast, I'm getting cereal. For lunch the next day, I'm getting a little cup of soup, about that big. And I missed my first excursion. So what did Royal Caribbean do for me? Well, they gave me a credit for the day that I missed on a future cruise. But it has to be within the next calendar year. So I get 1/7 of a cruise. But I missed my first excursion, which we brought back, apparently, because I didn't taste it, because I wasn't fucking there. But apparently we brought back some really good tequila that you can drink straight. I also brought back some chocolate tequila from Mexico that's fucking awesome. But that's Royal Caribbean, come on. All you do is slip me a couple of Imodium. I even told them, it's like, I have IBS. This is a normal condition for me. They take my temperature. I'm not running a temperature. I have diabetes. This is normal. This is like a once a week thing. Nope. I was stuck in my room watching shitty TV for 24 hours.
Where'd your wife go?
Oh, they went on the excursion.
No, but like if you're in isolation, she can't sleep in the room with you.
No, they can stay in the room.
Where were you on like room service and shit?
That was room service, Tim. But I was on a restricted diet.
They put you on a restricted diet?
Yes.
I would have had my wife order stuff. Hey, this is Mrs. Barzilla. I'd like the good shit.
Well, that was the only way I could get free room service. Otherwise, I would have had to pay room service. So, oh well.
That's a tough one, Scott.
Otherwise, it was a good cruise. I enjoyed it. Many good stories, many good beverages, but good food. But that was a bit rough.
Yeah, that one. I mean, obviously, we had the people getting stuck at sea with COVID scenario when it first came out. So clearly, they take those situations a lot more seriously now, Scott. But knowing what you know now, would you have just? Do you wish you would have just steered into the skid?
Oh yeah. I would have just been like, okay, so I got a flush shot at some point. I'm gonna be empty.
It'll stop eventually.
But no, in fact, they had a ship out on the West Coast. Apparently, they had 150 people that had digestive-related issues.
I've been checking my chef before I just put people in isolation. Like, hey, is everybody washing their hands, Typhoid Mary?
Yeah. Well, whatever it was, it tasted good. So, I guess it ends well.
I am going to go with a staffer for my state representative office. I am someone who likes to call and voice an opinion. I don't know if people have figured that out about me yet since listening to this show. Greg Abbott vetoed Dan Patrick's abomination of a marijuana bill. And said we need a special session to talk about it. He then basically rewrote the same bill, except allowing like a tiny little caveat for like certain types of CBD that his biggest donors own shops for. So basically, like He's using it to clear the way out so his friends can make more money in the CBD business. I call my local state representative, voice my opinion. Hey, this is bullshit. You voted down the first time, yada yada yada. And the representative is out doing his due diligence and doing research to see if this is something we'd like to vote. If he's visiting places, I'm like, hey, there's plenty of research that's been done on this. There's 20 states that have legalized at a recreation level. This bill's already been vetoed once. There's precedent to pass, to not vote for this. It's precedent to pass recreational marijuana in Texas if you wanted to. Then this guy goes to me. He goes, I'm sorry, sir. Are you a lawyer? Did you been to law school? I was like, I'm sorry. Why does that matter? He goes, well, I'm going to be going to law school, and you don't understand what precedent is. So here's where maybe I made a mistake, Scott, but I doubled the fuck down. And according to this phone call, I did, in fact, go to law school. I told him I went to the South Texas School of Law, and he doesn't understand what precedent is. And we literally had 5-minute argument over precedent and whether or not it pertains to anything in the state of Texas. It was just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Take my comment, get me off the phone. It's not your job to have an argument over whether or not there's legal precedent, and you have the knowledge because you took the LSATs. Him and I are on the same page. Neither of us have attended a law school class, but I can tell you right now, I want to come through the phone and punch this guy right in the kisser, man.
I know you haven't watched this movie or maybe, like this movie, but the line that kept coming up to me then was like, Ray, when somebody asks if you're a god, you say yes. But yeah, I know what precedent is. I was a poli-sci major. You
don't have to be a lawyer to understand legal precedent. That's the basis of law.
I took a pre-law class, because we had to. So, I don't know what to tell you there, Tim. That's pretty. And it obviously nobody expects anything out of Greg Abbott anymore. I mean,
I expect the worst. Whatever the worst solution is to the problem, that's what he's going to do.
Well, what's funny is, do you know who Lisa Falkenberg is?
Who?
Lisa Falkenberg.
I do not know.
She's a columnist who writes for the Chronicle, and she actually won. I don't think she won a Pulitzer, but she won. It may have been a Pulitzer, actually. To come to think about it, she did a series of in-depth articles, but she writes a column, and she was writing about the whole Texas redistricting. That is a continuation of what Tom DeLay did back in the years. And somebody asked her, why weren't you harder on Greg Abbott? And she just answered honestly. She said, I could be, but I'm only hard on people that I expect something out of. I don't expect him to do anything that's honorable anymore. So I'm not going to go down that road. And that's basically where I'm at on Greg Abbott. He's not going to do the honorable thing. One thing I would think that we could, I think, with the Central Texas disaster in mind, can we agree that we should have a statewide alarm to alarm us when Ted Cruz is on vacation?
I think that's necessary for sure. And I'd also like to say, can I please not be alerted when a cop gets slapped in the face 500 miles away by what was described as an Asian man, is the text that I got randomly. A police officer assaulted. It was like, you got slapped. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, well. And what do you want me to do about it?
High five him? I mean, what the fuck do you want me to do? All right, Scott, let's give away another award. Horse's ass. Who do you have this week?
All right, I am going to go with the National Basketball Association. So, I'm sure that you are waiting with bated breath for the findings of the Kevin Porter Jr. investigation. Were you waiting on that one, Tim?
No.
Well, just like the Epstein files, they were doing their due diligence. And what they've decided is that since the year after all that happened, when the Rockets cut them and nobody else signed them, they're going to consider that as time served. So, no suspension beyond what he's already quote unquote had, So, and they were going to do it like 4 games, like, okay, whatever that, wow. And the thing is that this is not a situation where he just kind of slapped somebody. This is not like Tim's assaulted cop. This is a situation where, his girlfriend at the time, who was a former WNBA player, was in a fear for her life and had to be hospitalized. Anybody that would do this, any of like you and me, Tim, or anybody else, we'd probably get, I would think, 5 to 10 years in prison. I think he did get some deferred adjudication, I think is the legal term, even though I'm not a lawyer and obviously didn't go to law school. But he got deferred adjudication. He had to take an anger management class, which, we've seen enough of those on television, to guess how, ridiculous those are. I can just imagine him sitting there, okay, what's your safe word, Kevin? What's your safe word, Kevin? Okay, remember, do your affirmation chants, Kevin. Whenever you feel like throwing, breaking a TV in the locker room, whenever you feel like punching your coach, whenever you feel like hunting down your girlfriend and trying to kill her, okay, remember your safe affirmation. Remember your safe phrase. Think of the calmest place you can think of. You're on a beach in Tahiti. Take a deep breath. Everything's fine. I mean, this is stupid. I mean, and so, what we saw with the NFL, and the NFL is certainly not, shall we say, enlightened on this one, but, compared to the NBA, they are. So look at Deshaun Watson sat out the entire 2021 season. Just sat it out because he wanted to be traded. All those lawsuits came down. The NFL did his investigation. And what did the NFL do? The NFL turned around and suspended him for 10 more games. They didn't just go like, well, he's already sat out a year. He's learned his lesson. Let's let him back. Now, the fact that the 11th game happened to be against the Texans, I'm sure that was a happy coincidence. But at least the NFL gave him additional punishment after he had already been sitting out a year. Because, I'm sorry, the fact that no team wanted to touch you for a year because you're a scumbag doesn't mean that you're now in the clear. You get credit for time served. The rest of us, it's not like, I could be, fired from work for committing a crime, not get hired for a year, and then go to the courts and just go, well, look, I didn't go work for a year. I've already suffered. Blah, blah, blah. No. None of it works that way. So the NBA, for basically just dragging your feet, hoping that, everybody would forget about this incident, because he's still a prominent player in the league. I just don't get it. Ray Rice hit his girlfriend once. I don't think she was hospitalized. He didn't play football again. So why is it the NBA is bringing back these scumbags when I guess we just have to see it on video, I guess. Maybe that's it. Maybe we just had, if somebody had videotaped him beating the shit out of his girlfriend, then everything would have been okay. But since we don't have it in video, you get time served for a season that nobody signed you, and the 4 games that we were going to, you don't even have to miss that at the beginning of the year. You're fine. You've already served your time. So that's where we're at. The NBA, just sickening. All right. So trying to think, I mean, obviously, even if you look at a guy that didn't do it, we've talked about Trevor / Tyler Bauer in baseball, and he's a guy that actually didn't do what he was accused of, and he's been out of Major League Baseball for now, I think, 3 seasons. So baseball has kind of figured out how to, freeze out scumbags for the most part. It took some doing, obviously. Roberto Osuna, notwithstanding, but baseball's slowly figured it out. The NFL has slowly figured it out. We'll see what the Texans do with Jimmy Ward, what the NFL does with Jimmy Ward. But the NBA, I can't believe in 2025 we're still doing this crap. So, going to do a bit of a pause here for a minute. Wait for Tim to get back. And he can give you his horse's ass award. All right, Tim. Kind of ran out of gas there. Had a bit of a coughing fit on the video there. But the NBA, I can't believe that we have to look to the NFL for example of what to do with scumbags. As progressive and woke as the NFL is, not. We have to, look to them, for the NBA to provide example. Because I was giving the example of Deshaun Watson getting suspended 10 games after he sat out a whole season.
Yeah, but I mean, that came from bungling the Ray Rice scenario, right? Like, the only reason the NFL's strict on it now is because they got called out for not being it. But I think the problem is you're the only one outraged that I've heard, right? Like, I haven't seen anyone at ESPN or Fox or anywhere saying this is a shame, right? No one freaked out when he got signed back to the Bucs. It was just like, oh, Bucs made a nice move. Oh, nice player. The outrage wasn't there. So it's not just the NBA. It's on everyone. It's on America. It's on media. It's on everyone for allowing this to be even possible.
All right, who do you got, Tim?
We didn't have a show last week, but I think this gets more back to the root of where our horse's ass award originally lived, right? Like, just purely a true jackass of the week award. And I'm going to give that to Andy Byron. Andy Byron was the CEO of a company called Astronomer till he decided to take his employees to a Coldplay concert, at which point he decided to get a little cozy with his chief people officer.
In charge of human resources.
Got caught on the kiss cam. Reacted so poorly on the kiss cam that Chris Martin, the lead singer of Coldplay, just literally was like, hey, there's a guy who's having an affair. And someone recorded that and posted it on the internet. Internet does what it does. There's a couple reasons this man is my horse's ass of the week. First of all, number one, you're not famous, right? Like, I didn't even know what this company did anything like that before this scandal. If I'm in that stadium, right, and I see you on the kiss cam, I just think that's just a couple of people enjoying a Coldplay concert together. But when you react like that, it becomes pretty obvious that you did not want to be seen. This is a closed caption TV thing. It's not being broadcast anywhere. So your reaction is what got you caught. Number two, his apology letter comes out, all the original fluff that you'd expect, right? more failing, take some time, all that stuff. But then it's that last paragraph for me where he calls out the kiss cam. He calls out the fact that they put him on the internet. Hey, don't fucking have an affair. Don't freak out like that. Don't do those things if you were worried about being seen. If you were worried about being caught, keep that affair in a hotel room 50 miles away that no one ever knows about. The moment that you go to public events and react like that, you can't control the public's reaction. And so it's just such an entitled, spoiled CEO attitude of like, how dare they put a camera on me? And like, fuck you, man. You're at an event. No one freaks out at a Major League Baseball game, and they do it every fifth inning, and it's sponsored. They make a lot of money off of it. Like, again, just don't be a fucking jackass.
Well, my favorite part is the fact that it's the human resources officer, the person who's in charge of making sure that there are proper relationships in the workplace. And of course, the internet doing what it does. I think my favorite meme was John Redcorn, with Nancy. I mean, that's pretty good. And actually, I have a personal story here. So years ago, I worked at Pasadena Memorial High School, and we were eating, the whole family. We were eating at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I saw him coming to Buffalo Wild Wings with this girl, and I'm like, shit, she looks young. Hopefully, but I didn't think anything of it. The next week, he was busted for having a relationship with an underage student. And you're like, why the hell are you dragging her out in public to a Buffalo Wild Wings where, you could have people that see you? Go to the fucking Woodlands and go to a Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, why are you going, I'm just going to bring her in Pasadena and nobody's going to know. Come on. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, you're the CEO of a company. I assume you have some wherewithal, but then you remember none of them do. None of these people have fucking wherewithal. None of these executives. Like, I was at a meeting the other day. I'm not going to name any names, but like someone literally goes, us executives don't have to listen to full pitches. We just need a little bit and we'll pick it up from there. We're that good. I'm just like, maybe y'all should listen to the full thing instead of cutting people off a sentence in. You're like, yeah, I've got it. Thank you. Like, oh, there's a lot there. One sentence wasn't enough, but okay.
Is that how those ads get approved where people are like, what the fuck were they thinking?
Has to be. Absolutely has to be. Because there's some of these companies need to hire Tim because their branding is terrible. But let's tip some caps, Scott. A lot of negatives in the last couple of weeks, but some good positives as well.
This one's a bittersweet one, Tim. But I'm going to go with LMJ, Lance McCullers Jr. And here's why. I don't know if he's thrown his last pitch in Houston. He is officially on the injured list with a blister. I suspect that's one of those wink, wink kind of IR moves that they made, and they just decided Ryan Gusto is going to give us a better chance to win than Lance McCullers at this point. But especially for that scumbag who threatened him and his family, I'd like everybody to keep this in mind. Okay, how many Major League teams are there, Tim?
32.
I think there's actually 30.
I thought it's 32 in baseball, 4 in each division.
No, it's 5 in each division.
5 in each. You're right, it's 30. You're right, 30.
So 26 men on a roster. So that ends up being 780 players. 780 players are good enough to be in the major leagues. How many professional baseball players do you think there are in the world?
Okay. 780 times that by another 3 for like all the levels. It's like 2,400, 2,200, 2,300. Then another.
You got Japan, you got Korea.
150. I got like 150 for the American Association, another 150 for the Atlantic. I don't know. Let's call
You
it
got-
like $5,000 total across the world for professionals.
I mean, at the minimum, right? I mean, it could be more if you consider
Yeah.
like Cuba, Mexico, Korea, Japan.
So it's like I'd say about like 5,000-6,000, including
So-
all those.
If you're and in how many baseball players, and then of course you got to consider how many guys are there collegiately, how many guys are there playing in high school. So if you're one of the best 780 players in the world, you're a pretty damn good baseball player. And even if you're the worst player in the big leagues, you're still in the top, would you say 10-15% of professional baseball players in the world?
Yeah.
So I think people need, to take a step back. When you're looking at Lance McCullers, this guy busted ass he came up in 2015. So he's been up for now 11 years. Sure, he's missed, I think, 3 seasons to injury? I think total. 3 total years. I mean, he's had Tommy John. He's had others. I mean, he's gone through it. And this is a guy that is going out there and he is busting his ass, trying to help this team win. And he has helped them win some games. Pitched a brilliant game in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. And a part of that, that 3-game sweep where everybody was living on, cloud 9 in Houston. So yeah, his ERA, and I've talked about this before, where yes, you can look at guys with some quote unquote on the back of their baseball card, but realize that in any one moment they can come up huge and help your team win a game. Tim has bagged on Cooper Hummel, big time. But there's been some key moments that he has had in some games that has helped your team win a game. And anybody that boos them, threatens their family, certainly, I mean, has lost all perspective on this thing. These are guys that are all doing the very best they can. And I got to tip my cap to them, because if this ends up being a career, still a lot of great memories from LMJ. 2017, 2021, 2022. Just a lot of great things from LMJ.
Yeah, some great memories, like a gutsy competitor. Even the 22 World Series win, he was tipping his pitches early in his start, but still found a way to go 5 or 6 innings, which the team needed, because of the next night you had the bullpen come through with the combined no-hitter, right? So even when he didn't have his best stuff, he found ways to contribute and be competitive. And I hope this isn't the end for Lance McCullers, but I'm with you. If it is, at least as an effective pitcher, he does deserve a hat tip for what he's done for the organization. All right, I'm going to tip my cap to the collective group that I'm going to call the Young Guns. We're going to look at Trammell. We're going to look at Bryce Matthews. We're going to look at Zach Short. Begrudgingly, we're going to look at Cooper Hummel. We're going to look at Shea Whitcomb. And we're going to do a joint hat tip. Because when you look at the players that are on the IL list right now, 2 All-Stars, a guy who should have been an All-Star in Myers, a previous All-Star in Christian Javier, a guy who's throwing no-hitter, a phenomenal pitcher in Luis Garcia, a guy who was supposed to play a Gold Glove level second base in Brendan Rodgers, who broke his nose at his first rehab start. These guys have come up and they've done just enough to keep this train moving. I don't think there's many teams in Major League Baseball that you could hand them the injury situations the Astros have been handed this season, and they would be tied for the best record in the league. Obviously, Espada deserves a hat tip as well. We've tipped our cap to Joe before for the job he's doing. But these young guys specifically these are not guys who probably are going to get many Major League opportunities after this year if they don't seize the moment here, right? Trammell's had chances before. Zach Short's had chances before. Cooper Hummel literally has been DFA'd like 4 times. He's had his opportunities. So for them to know that if I don't produce here, this is probably it for my chances of Major League Baseball player, to have that pressure, to have the pressure of coming up for a contending baseball team, and then to find ways to contribute, whether it's offensively, defensively, base running, whatever it is, taking your opportunity and running with it. I couldn't be prouder of these guys, right? Like, I hate watching Cooper Hummel hit sometimes. I do. But at the end of the day, I do understand that this guy is giving it his max effort. He's doing everything he can. He's trying to win ball games. He's making great plays defensively, as you mentioned earlier in the show. You know, you look at Bryce Matthews, that start that he had to his career could have hurt anybody, right? You're hitting 094 through your first 6 baseball games. That's tough mentally. But to come back and to have a series like he had in Arizona, he single-handedly won that series for us between the 8 runs that he drove in and the game-saving double play in the 9th inning last night. Zach Short, the other half of that double play, that was a great turn on both ends. He's had a game-winning knock himself. Like, these guys just keep finding ways. They keep finding ways to contribute. And, you know, when you look at the totality of the season, like, yes, one game here or there really isn't that huge of a deal, but, like, it is. How big for the clubhouse is that sweep today, right? The lineup that you put out today, and those guys found a way to contribute. They found a way to win a game that you and I both had zero expectations of them winning that game today.
Well, and then, you know, Trammell basically was the guy that won the last game in Seattle. And winning that game is the difference between a 2-game lead and a 4-game lead. What I will say is, you know, I love the next guy, you know, next man up mentality. And what I say was different about this every year. By this time in the season, I've had a pretty good feel for a team. Last year, you know, at the beginning, like April and May, I was thinking, God, this team sucks. But by the time we got here to late July, it's like, okay, this team's going to compete. You know, we're in this thing. I can't tell you from one day to the next what's going to happen because guys keep dropping like flies. I mean, we sat there after the Dodgers series, get swept by the Guardians, almost get swept by the Rangers, and then almost get swept by the Mariners. I mean, that's as brutal a 9-game stretch as I've seen this team play. And what they do, they just turned around and swept the D-backs. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So I don't know. My guess is short is I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know if we're seeing a mirage, but I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, there are certain years, right, where there's sometimes teams are just a little magical, right? There's a little magic in those uniforms. I will always have, you know, love for that 2015 Astros team, even though they didn't bring it all home. It was like the first one where things really started to turn around. And there was some magic that year too, right? Like, guys came up just at the right time. They made impacts just at the right time. Everybody seemed to turn it around together. Dallas Keuchel won a Cy Young. Like, it was literally magical until it wasn't. So, I mean, you got to ride it while you can, enjoy it while you can. Let's hope the magic doesn't run out. But at the end of the day, through July 23rd, this has been a miraculous season to have the amount of guys who are key contributors on the IL that the Astros have and to still be playing the type of baseball that they have. It's absolutely phenomenal. And if you're a Mariners player or fan, like, you got to be like, what the fuck do we need to do? Like, literally, we can't chase down a half AAA baseball team. We can't. What are we doing here, guys? Like, if you're the owner of the Mariners, how do you continue to let your general manager do this? To have a travesty of a front office job like you have, to when the Astros have a season like this, you still can't fucking get up there.
Well, the beauty is that so we've played 12 games since the Dodgers series. We are 5-7 in those 12 games. We had a 7-game lead after the Dodgers series. We now have a 6-game lead. So you're the Mariners. You're like, the Astros hit a little bit of a rough patch. We gained 1 fucking game. I mean, come on.
Yep. And I mean, like, there was a month stretch where every time they lost, we won. We didn't lose on a single night they won. Yeah, it's a magical season through July 23rd, and let's hope it keeps running. All right, Scott, it's time for the biggest and baddest, the scumbag of the week. Who do you got for us?
All right, I'm going to go with whoever you want to go this with. Do you want to go CBS or Paramount? So, number one, they settled out of court when Donald Trump sued them over the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris that he said was doctored to work in her favor. This is a lawsuit that law professors, not me, not Tim, who, we didn't go to law school. These are law professors. People did go to law school. Said was the biggest joke of a lawsuit that they had ever seen in their lives. So CBS, Paramount just said, oh, we were about to merge, so here's $16 million to help grease the tracks. And then Monday of last week, Stephen Colbert comes on his show, calls it a big fat bribe, which of course it is. And on Wednesday, his show gets canceled at the end of its contract next May. Now, Paramount is saying that it was purely for financial reasons. It wasn't getting as good a ratings as it used to. It was losing money. I would point out that The Late Show has been number one in the ratings for, I don't know, probably at least 5 or 6 years in a row. It's the number one in its category. Now, is it losing money? I don't know. I don't look at their books, but people seem to say it is. But you cannot deny how bad this looks 48 hours after he accused you of a big fat bribe. And here comes, Adolf Hitler coming on his stupid little app. Oh, I got Stephen Colbert fired. Jimmy Kimmel's next. Yeah. You can't tell me that there was a little bit under the table there where they said, I'll put your merger through if you give me $16 million. Oh, and $20 million of free advertising. And you had to fire that sleazeball Stephen Colbert. And that's what happened. You can't tell me that's not how that went down. And the biggest thing with CBS, even if you're losing money, basically you're capitulating to a jackass. And one of the things, have you heard of the Smothers Brothers, Tim?
I have, yeah.
So what's funny, in the 60s, the Smothers Brothers sent a letter of apology to President Lyndon Johnson for basically unmercifully satirizing him in their show. And Lyndon Johnson sent them a note that basically said, no, this is part of being a public figure. And if you don't have the capability to laugh at yourself, then you really shouldn't, have the responsibility of being in this position. So he didn't accept their apology because they didn't need to apologize. And here is the 180-degree opposite, who I don't think he has a sense of humor, because everything he says that tries to be funny is just an insult. So that's not humor. That's just being a dick. So you're gonna surrender to this guy, and you're gonna try to silence one of the few voices that is willing to speak truth to power through humor, and you're gonna fail because Stephen Colbert's gonna land somewhere. And he's going to land somewhere, and he's going to have a bigger platform than you ever gave him at CBS. So not only are you scumbags for surrendering, you failed. You absolutely failed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And in every one of our major media outlets have failed. They've all failed. They all went for ratings instead of speaking truth to power. Like, Trump never should have been taken seriously when he came down that gold escalator in 2015. He should have been eviscerated. He should have been made fun of. He should have been mocked on every level. But they all love the ratings that when they talk about Trump, when they show Trump, even if you show him doing stupid shit, they still showed him and they still spread it. And they allowed it to get to this point. And now they allow him to dictate how they want to do things because there's a merger at stake. And the FCC's got to approve it. So what do? They pay a bribe. They let him say, hey, my number one dissenter's got to go. And also, hey, it's going to distract a little bit for the big issue at hand, which is, the fact that he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, I I went back and forth on this one a little bit. I think obviously what the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, did, scumbag worthy. But I'm going to try and be a little less political, right? I am going to call out Connor Estelle. Now, Connor appeared on a YouTube channel hosted by someone named Jubilee. His channel is Jubilee Surrounded, right, where he goes and he has debates against people of alternate beliefs.
Oh, yeah.
In this scenario, he was debating 20 conservatives, which I have problems with those kind of shows in general, because all it does is give great sound clips to conservative, like to fascists, but whole other issue. In this one, Connor Estelle identified himself as a fascist. He said that the Nazi party was misunderstood. The only issue they had, they were a little hard on the church, but they've been misrepresented. The guy said, "You sound like a fascist." He goes, "I am a fascist." So he then loses, fuck around, find out phase comes around. Connor loses his job. So what do? We go to a Christian far-right crowdfunding source and raise a quick 20 fucking G's, because we don't like socialism, but we do like supporting people who claim they've been canceled for admitting that they are Nazis on a 1 million+ view stream. Make that one make sense, America. You're not willing to help pay people's health insurance, but you're willing to pay for an out Nazi to pay his bills for the next few months because he got in trouble for saying, "Yeah, I am a Nazi." So Connor Estelle, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Two fun facts about that, Tim. Number one, I think it's up to 35,000.
Even better.
Number two, there is no proof that he actually lost his job. I mean, nobody, because he never said where he worked. So, could you imagine what kind of a higher level scumbag you'd have to be to lie about being fired? Basically set up a GoFundMe because, woe is me, I got fired. So I can just claim like a $35,000 bonus on top of the fact that I'm still getting paid at my job. I mean, that's Steve Bannon level bullshit.
Yeah, I can't imagine somebody who would ever go to that level to try and scam people, man. I can't stand grifters. But anyway, let's talk about our kangaroo work. We have a problem, Scott. We have a serious issue. We are right now under attack by a group that calls themselves Studying Hippopotamuses' Invasive Territories. It's a shit attack, okay? We have been working for months now to perfect what we're doing over at Financing Aquatic Kangaroo Exploration. We have been working hard. We have territories booked off. We greased the palms of the right foreign governments. We did what we needed to do, right? And now this other group comes in, and they're trying to stop the progress that we're making. So you know what this means? We need more money. We need more money to hire the lawyers and to buy the explosives needed to get these people off of our back.
So Tim, and for those of y'all who are listening, and you're waffling on whether to donate money, if you're just like, I'm not sure, just think about this. Which animal has more utility? A kangaroo that has a pocket and can jump, or a hippo? I mean, the only thing I know about hippos is that game Hungry Hippos, and those aren't real hippos.
No.
What can hippos do for you?
I mean, we've tried to do stuff with hippos. We brought them to America to try and make them a form of meat, and that failed. We don't want the hippos, okay? Again, Scott, I just like to, real quick, you said donate. And again, this is an investment, okay? We're not looking for donations. We're looking for people with vision, people who understand that we are high-level thinkers who are looking to take aquatic exploration to the next level, and they want to invest in that next level because you're going to get your money back tenfold, right? Like, I'm not even worried about paying our investors back because of how much money we're going to make once we find Atlantis.
And I don't want to. I obviously don't like commercials that pull at the heartstrings. But you remember Flippy, Tim?
I do.
Poor Flippy was the victim of a hippo attack, and he was our main lab scientist. Flippy was our primary lab scientist, and he was just in the lab minding his own business. Went outside for a smoke break, and there comes the hippo, just completely mauls him. We're trying to, in addition to all the research we're doing, in addition to all the things we're discovering, we need a memorial service for Flippy. We need your help. We need to give Flippy the right send-off because he was making some great progress in the lab.
We got up to 2G reception on the cell phone materials that we found. We're almost at 5G.
And we are in danger of that progress stopping. We need your help.
Also, we need money to hire Sarah McLachlan to sing sad songs for our commercials. We don't want our you guys won't see those commercials. Okay, this is for our late night audience. We're not going to take advantage of y'all. But those late night people, little Sarah McLachlan, we'll show them a couple of our dead kangaroos. We can turn the crowd against hippos real fast. We just need you to invest. You can see what we're doing as a winner. We're definitely not scammers. We're definitely not grifters. We still have our jobs, right? We haven't lost our jobs. We just want to make aquatic exploration easier for kangaroos, and I don't think that's that crazy.
No, of course not. We are getting close to Atlantis. I am positive. I think we'll get.
I can feel it in my plums.
I think we're getting there within the next year, easily.
And here's something people don't think about, Scott. Once we find it, you and I, we go down there in the scuba gear. We've only got 2 hands, right? We've still got to swim back up. We send the kangaroo. They've got the pouch. We can fill the pouch with Atlantic artifacts, and then they can still swim back up. That's why we got into this. It's all about the pouch technology that we'll just never have. So we're trying to take advantage of the pouch.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. We'll keep everybody updated on this. We really appreciate everybody who's invested so far. Again, it's not a donation, guys. You're going to get your money back tenfold by investing, and what could only be described as National Geographic Kids called it one of the most controversial takes on aquatic explorations.
Well, for the memorial service is a donation. The memorial service. If you want to
in lieu of flowers, they are asking for I don't know, what do kangaroos eat? I forgot. Carrots?
Well, we could try that in the lab. See.
That's why we got a lab. That's why we got the lab. Maybe Scott and I don't take care of the kangaroos. We have handlers for that. Okay, so they do the feeding. Don't worry about that. But that's all we've got for you here this week. We appreciate everybody who joined us. We appreciate everybody who's going to help us fight this shitstorm that we're receiving from the hippopotamus people. But hey, we're going to keep fighting the good fight. We're going to find the lost city of Atlantis, and we're going to make all of you rich one day. We will see everybody on Born on the Bayou Sports next week.